Well, Dr. Levy Ndou now joins us via video link to unpack these developments in the ANC cadre deployment policy debacle with the DA. The court has dismissed the DA's application to declare the policy unconstitutional. Well, Dr. Ndou, good afternoon. Thanks for your time in the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon to you, Lisa. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
So on the back of the judgment, let's get your reaction. Help us understand from your vantage point what this all already means.
Well, I think it talks to the separation or giving responsibilities to political parties to exercise their policy issues without any influence of other political parties that are not that are actually competing with that political party. It also creates a separation between the freedom of other political parties to freely express their views, express their policies, and whatever decisions that they come onto, it has to be done within the confines of such political parties. At the same time, it talks to the independence of political parties to ensure that whatever they believe in should not be interfered to with other political parties.
Well, on the back of that, we're obviously looking at the way forward. So really, what does this mean now for the DA, for the ANC, but even other political parties at large in this election year, given the possibilities and the probabilities of coalitions also coming into the mix this time?
The DA appears to be saying that even though they've not won the case today, they are prepared to take the matter further to other courts of the Republic. But what it simply says is that political parties remain free to have policy discussions, take decisions on matters that concern those political parties, and other political parties should not bother much on what other political parties are doing, because in any way they are not part and parcel of such political parties. But at the same time, what the court does not say, it does not say that whatever decisions that you take should not actually be made known, or if other parties request such information, they should not be given, especially when such has got a huge impact on the governance of the state. But what becomes central is that the court today has said that there is the ANC can still do decisions on cadre deployment as long as they are not contravening any law, and it is also not against the Constitution.
The ANC alluding to the fact that it has examples of where the DA has also practiced forms of cadre deployment. What do you think comes to the fore on that front? If we're going to look at the policy, how it could also be better enforced, are there examples that exist for a South African context?
I think in general, it is not about the DA saying that cadre deployment is wrong or it should not be done. I think they could be talking about certain areas in which cadre deployment could have been used to the disadvantage of the South African population. All political parties do a cadre deployment, because a cadre deployment, in my view, is classified into different categories. Sitting down as a political party and agreeing on a party list is part of cadre deployment. Identifying people that have to occupy certain strategic positions, either in government or in the parastatals, is part of cadre deployment. And the biggest issue, I think, in my view, is that the DA appears to be saying cadre deployment could have been abused by the ruling party to the disadvantage of the South African population.
Just on the back of what was echoed at the Zondo Commission and looking at sentiments about how cadre deployment at some instances was a tool or an enabler of corruption and state capture, what are your views on that? And also, as we look forward, is it enough to stop those forms of corruption or state capture in its tracks, just given the fact that We obviously now have finality on what has transpired, despite the DA wanting to appeal the decision. Help us understand from your vantage point, how it's going to address the phenomenon of corruption at large in South Africa.
We are coming and we are still in the era of affirmative action and women empowerment. And there has been calls that affirmative action to a certain extent has been used to disadvantage certain people, or other people have actually used it in a corrupt manner. And I think also the argument might be that there could be instances where cadre deployment was actually used in a manner that wrong people or unqualified people had to be given positions in government and other institutions that are critical to the state. And my sense is that whether we like it or not, cadre deployment is here and cadre deployment has been going on. And what we need to focus on, in my view, is to ensure that any corrupt element associated with cadre deployment has to be dealt with, and it should actually be stopped.
Well, thank you very much for weighing in at this hour. We're going to leave the conversation there for now. Dr. Levy Ndou, political analyst, really just weighing in. We do know now that the court has dismissed the DA's application to declare the cadre deployment policy unconstitutional. So we're monitoring developments, really what the implications are. Also looking at the DA's options. They said that they will appeal the matter. All this and more on the SABC as developments unfold.